Hey there, greetings and welcome to this session of the Long Island Blues Society Blues Education Series. I'm Joe Roberts, and glad you can join me. Yeah. So, we're here to talk about the blues tonight. And so just what exactly is the blues? Well, obviously it's a musical idiom, but more than that, it's a musical form. The blues is a 12-bar form which targets the 4 chord at bar 5. And essentially the 12 bars are comprising 3 phrases. The first phrase centers around the 1 chord. The second 4-bar phrase centers around the 4 chord. The third phrase centers around the 5 chord. So if we're in the key of F, we'll have the 1 chord. Often at bar 2, we'll go to the 4 chord and then come back for bars 3 and 4 at the 1 chord. Bar 5 targets the 4, stays there for 2 bars, goes back to the 1 chord. At bar 9, we go to the 5. Bar 10, the 4. Bar 11, the 1. And then bar 12 goes to the 5 to bring us back to the top, and we loop on endlessly. 1, 4, 1, 4, 4, 1, 1, 5, 4, 1, 5. So that's the form. Okay? We're going to have some issues with our camera angles tonight, folks. Trying to get me and my keys into a single frame is not going to work too well, but we'll do the best we can. Anywho, now often what will happen is we'll be playing over these changes with what's known as a blues scale. And so what's a blues scale? Blues scale will start at the 1, skip to the flat 3, go to the 4, 5, flat 5, then 5, flat 7, and the 1. Okay, so we have a flat 3, a flat 5, and a flat 7 in the blues scale. And it sounds like this. Okay, so that's basically what we're working with. In that scale, very often the natural third would also be added. So we have this. Okay, so that's the basic blues scale used for soloing. We're going to talk a lot about that and some alternative options later on. Okay, so if you're a keyboard player and you're working in a blues band, or if you frequent the many open mic jam sessions that take place all around Long Island, you will find yourself invariably comping behind extended guitar solos, sometimes very extended guitar solos. Occasionally you'll get a horn player as well that you'll be comping behind. So let's talk about our role as a keyboard player in those circumstances. So what I like to do is, first of all, change my voicings. Okay? And our standard voicings are built on thirds. You know what? I'm going to move my camera and see if I can get you over my keys. Let's see if we can make this happen here. So you can actually see what I'm playing. Okay, so typically we voice chords in thirds. So if we're in the key of F, our one chord is voiced 1, 3, 5, 7. Okay, you might do an inversion for the 4 chord, back to the 1 chord, another inversion. For the 5 here I'm voicing 5, 7, 1, 3. Again, 5, 7, 1, 3. And then 1, 3, 5, 7. What I like to do typically when I find myself comping behind guys is to change the voicing to fourth voicing. This may come out of my jazz playing, but I just am very enamored with the sound of voicing my chords in fourths rather than thirds. So I'm going to voice my 1 chord 7, 10, 13. And in my right hand, well, wait a minute before I go to my right hand. Some of you may be saying, wait a minute, what the hell is a 7, 10, 13 mean? Well, if we look at the fully extended chord built on thirds, we'll have 1, 3, 5, 7, add a 9, add a sharp 11, and then a 13th. That's the full chord. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, a sharp 11, and a 13th is the full F dominant 7 chord. So in my left hand, if I play 3 notes, 7, 10, 10 is the third, so we have the shell that defines the texture of the chord as a dominant, because we have the tritone, 7, 3, or 7, 10. When we add the 13, or the 6, as some may view it, okay, and then in my right hand, let's move the camera a little bit, on top of that, what I'm going to do is play octaves. Okay, in addition to the octave, I may add the 5th in between, and I may alternate between the 5th and the 6th in my right hand. Okay, so my 4 chord, again, I'll voice it in fourths as a 7, 10, 13. Put octaves on top of that and it sounds like this. So, on the B flat, 7, 10, 13. Now when I go to the 5 chord, the C, I'm going to voice it in fourths, but I'm going to use a different inversion. Here I'm going to go 3, 7, and use a sharp 9. What's a sharp 9? C chord, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9 is a D, sharp 11, F sharp, 13, A. That's the full C dominant. So I'm going to raise the D to a D sharp or E flat. Shades of Foxy Lady. Anywho, so I'm going to voice that 3, 7, sharp 9 in my right hand, again octaves. Maybe a 5th thrown in there. So here's what I've got. 1, F, B flat, F, B flat, F. C, B flat, F. Okay, so that gives us a wide open spread voicing that will cut through anything and everything on the stage. That's why I like that. So when we're comping in this, what we want to do is land on a solid rhythmic figure and lean into that. Okay, and that will really drive the band. So we settle into a rhythmic figure, lean on that, your drummer will pick up on it, embellish it, hang with it, and it will lock the rhythm section in place. So we may Okay, so open the voicings, land on a rhythmic figure, hang with that, and that will drive the band. So when you're playing behind these guitar players or horn players, you just lean in on that, hang in on that, and it will serve you well. Okay. So we talked about the blues form essentially giving us a 1-4-5 progression, standard blues. What we're going to do is take advantage of one of the tenets of harmonic theory, which says that any chord can be preceded by its own 2-5. Okay? So what we're going to look at first as an opportunity to do that is, well, the blues will target the 4 chord at bar 5, right? Right. So if that's our target, we can precede that in bar 4 with a 2-5 in the key of B flat. Okay, so we have F, we go to the 2 chord at bar 2, at bar 3, we come back to F. Now at bar 4, we can target the B flat at bar 5 in bar 4 with the 2-5 of B flat. Okay, so again, is 1, bar 1, B flat, bar 2, F bar 3, bar 4, 2-5 into B flat. Okay, that's rule number 1. We can also take advantage of another tenet of harmonic theory, which says that any dominant 7 chord, any dominant chord, can be replaced by substituting its tritone. Okay, so we can make a tritone substitution for the 5 in our 2-5 into B flat. So instead of C minor, F7, B flat, we can go C minor, B7, B flat. I like that a lot. So here's what we get. I love that sound, okay? Again, I'm voicing that in fourths, so my B7 is going to be voiced 7, 10, 13. I might add in a 9 and a 5th in my right hand. So let's do that again. Here's the 1, here's the 2, 1, 2-5 of B flat. There we go. The alternative is 1 and the actual 5. For the substitution, we actually have a chromatic movement there. Okay? Instead of the 2-5 movement. Okay, so how do we further propel our chord progression within the blues form? Okay, so at bar 5, we've got our 4 chord, B flat, and that normally hangs for 2 bars. Okay, but we could move this thing, give this additional movement at bar 5 by including the sharp 4 diminished. And you've heard this sound a gazillion times in the blues, okay? So we have this. Going back to the 1. Okay, at bar 6. So if we include that diminished, 4 sharp diminished, that's a B diminished. To go back to the F, the 1. Let's see what we've got so far. Here's the top. 2/5. Here's the diminished. Okay, so we're moving this along a little bit. Next, in bar, what is it, bar 11, we've got our 1 chord. And we're going to take advantage of that first rule of harmonic theory, which says any chord can be preceded by its own 2/5. So here's our F. 2/5 of F is G minor, 5C, and here I'm using a flat 9 on the C. Okay, so we have a D flat in this chord to go back to the 1. Okay, so we can also precede the G minor with its 2/5, which is A minor, D. Again, I'll use a D flat here, a flat 9 here. So we've got a 2-bar run up to that F. Okay, so we're going to use a 3, A minor, 6, D7 flat 9, 2, G minor 7, 5, C7 flat 9 to the 1. Okay, that's into bar 11. Bar 10, 5, bar 9, I guess, is going to be G minor 7, preceded by its 2/5, A minor D. So here's what we'll have so far. 1, 2, 1, 2/5 of 4, sharp diminished, sharp 4 diminished, 1, now 3, 6, 2, 5, 1. Okay, that leaves us with just 2 more bars, right? And so what we want to do, use a turnaround. And our turnaround will be a 1-6-2-5 turn. Okay, so that's going to be 1 F6, D7 sharp 9, in this case, 2 dominant 2, not minor 2, with a 13, to a 5-7 sharp 9 this time. So here's the turn. Back to the top. Let's play the whole thing. 1, 2, 1, 2/5 of 4, 4 sharp diminished, 1, 3, 6, 2, 5, 1, 6, 2, 5. Okay, so what does that do for us? it gives us a lot of options when it comes to soloing. Okay, lots of options jump out from these expanded harmonic vocabularies. So we started out by saying we've got the blues scale, right? In the blues scale, 1, flat 3, 4, flat 5, 5, flat 7, 1. Diminished. Okay, so that's our F blues scale. I'm in the key of F. F, A flat, B flat, B, or C flat actually, C, E flat, F. Now, what we can also do is use in this key of F, we can use another blues scale, not the F blues scale. We can use a scale that is built on the relative minor. So what we have is a D blues scale used in the key of F. And so in D, the blues scale would be 1D, flat 3, F, all right? 4 is G, flat 5, A flat, 5, A, flat 7, C, D. It's like F, D, okay? So in F, in fact, the piece I started this thing with, which is one of my originals called When It's All Over Blues. It's in F, right? The opening lick is the D blues scale. That's the D blues scale right there. Starting on the 4. G, A flat, A, C, D, F. It's the D blues scale in the key of F. Okay? So... etc. Okay, so we have the F blues scale we can always use. We use that over all of the changes. We have the D blues scale in the key of F. So any key you're in, you can use a blues scale built on the relative minor of that key. So in F, D blues scale is used. In C, A blues scale is used. Okay? In E, you have a C sharp blues scale in play. Okay, so whatever key you're in, the relative minor is used to build a blues scale, and that will work perfectly fine every time. Now, these additional changes that we've inserted into this give us, again, other possible scales that we can draw upon. So we started out by using some of these extended chords, right? Or on the F, the fully extended chord, F, C, F, A, C, E flat, G, 9, sharp 11, B, 13, D. So if we drop that upper triad, the G, this is really a G triad over an F7 is really what we have here. If we were in E flat, we'd have an F triad over an E flat 7. Okay, so the extensions are really adding a triad, a step above the root of the dominant chord we're playing. If we drop that down an octave, it gives us a scale. Okay, so F, G, A, B, C, D, the 13, E flat, F. So that's our scale. Okay, that's called a Mixolydian scale. So there's our F7. Blues scale, adding the natural third. There's the extensions. And the scale. Now, we can use another scale as well called the altered dominant scale. So what's an altered dominant scale? An altered dominant scale, for the most part, is a diminished scale, but it's built on the flat 9. Okay, so in F, flat 9 would be G flat or F sharp. And so our scale built on the G flat or F sharp would sound like this. Okay, and this works particularly well on either a sharp or a flat 9 chord because it contains both the flat 9 and the sharp 9. So I was using the C7 flat 9 at the end, was that bar 10 before the turnaround, where we had the 3, 6, 2, 5. There's the 5 with the flat 9. So here we'd use the C altered dominant scale, which is built from a D flat diminished, right? Okay. All blues scale. There's our altered dominant scale on that C7 flat 9. Okay, so other colors that it brings in when we extend the harmonic vocabulary, we can play any of the, here's the A minor to the D7 flat 9. Flat 9 in our solos. that flat 9 in the D. And again, the alternate dominant scale on the C7 flat 9. So that's C7 flat 9 in the altered dominant scale, C, D flat flat 9, E flat sharp 9, third, okay, and that's a flat 5, and then a 5, 6, flat 7, 1. Okay, so scales. Blues scale built on the relative minor, the altered dominant, mixolydian. When we have the G minor, here we can use a Dorian mode on those minors, the G minor, A minor, D7, flat 9, G minor, okay, built on an F scale over G minor. Okay, so let's wrap this up and recap what we've talked about. We discussed the blues form, which is a 12-bar structure targeting the 4 chord at bar 5, 3 phrases. Phrase 1 centers around the 1, phrase 2 centers around the 4, phrase 3 rather centers around the 5 chord. Okay? Normally, the blues scale, 1, flat 3, 4, flat 5, 5, flat 7 is the vehicle of choice in soloing. We can also use the blues scale built on the relative minor from D. Okay? We talked about voicing in fourths rather than thirds, and using octaves up in the right hand. Okay, big, wide open sound, which is really punchy. Comping, you want to establish a solid rhythmic figure, hang in there with that, play around with the drummer who will undoubtedly complement whatever figure you're leaning on, and that's our comping on extending harmonic vocabulary. Instead of our straight 1, 4, 5, we've got other chords that are inserted, and the ones I looked, there are others, by the way, lots of other choices. For example, we can, right, use that one. walking up. The ones we looked at tonight were preceding the 4 chord at bar 5 in bar 4 with its 2/5. So that's a C F to B flat, or alternately C B B flat. Come back to the 1. I'm sorry, before we go back to the 1, bar 5, we insert the sharp 4 diminished. Then the 3, 6, 2, 5, 1, 6, 2, 5, and on the turnaround, I recommend the use of dominance, all dominance, for those 4 changes on the 1, 6, 2, 5. Okay, then we talked about scales that we can use in our improv, in addition to the blues scale, and the blues scale built from the key of the relative minor. We have the Mixolydian scale, which is really taking the full 5/7 extended chord, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, sharp 11, 13. Take that triad on top, the G triad, drop it down, and our scale works every time. And the altered dominant, which is, there are 2 versions of this altered dominant. One is, as I've described, the diminished scale built on the flat 9. So if we've got a C7 sharp 9 or flat 9, it's the D flat diminished scale starting on the C. C, D flat, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C. I tend to look at diminished scales as the first 4 notes of a minor scale triad apart. So D flat minor, then G minor will make up that diminished scale. The other variation of the altered scale is a combination of this minor and then a whole tone scale. So we have okay. Okay, so we have C, D flat, E flat, E, and then a whole tone scale from G flat, A flat, B flat, C. It's the other variation of that altered scale. Okay, so we have the altered scales, we've got the Lydian scale, and we've got the blues scale that can all be used in our soloing. The additional chords, you can use any of these scales that you would normally use. So, for example, where we're going 3/6 on that A minor, you can certainly use the Dorian mode. On the G minor, you can use the Dorian mode. Okay, so that's all I've got for tonight. Thank you for joining. I hope you enjoyed it, maybe got something out of it. Keep playing and keep practicing. Okay, we hope to see you out there. Come on by if you get a chance to see the Johnny Mac Band. Come on by and say hello, or come on out and see the Joe Roberts Jazz Ensemble. We're in Medford every Sunday night now, so we'd love to see you out there. Thanks for coming. Thanks for hanging. Keep playing the blues. We'll see you next time, folks. Thanks.